Hi, how you doing? You well? You well? How's things? You're looking good anyway. No, look, come here. I need to level with you, right? This is going to be a very short podcast. This is going to be a bite-sized podcast, right? I'm very tired and I don't have a lot of time. I'm very tired because of all those gigs. I was doing the 4 nights at Ivy Gardens, and what a 4 nights. Thank you everyone who came out. It was such an incredible crowd. It was such crack. I want to thank everyone apart from the fucking maniac who let off a stink bomb in the last, it's not funny, he's an asshole, in the last gig to top it all off. But I want to say thank you so much to everyone who endured the smell of shite in the whole for about 40 minutes for that gig. I really appreciate you sitting there, and then everyone started spraying deodorant and it just smelled like, you know, like a real potpourri Jack's after someone shit really bad in it. So thank you very much for your understanding. Not understand. Thank you very much. Well, also, yes, actually, do you know what as well? I'm not going to apologize for how short this episode is. I'm going to say thank you for your understanding. Thanks for understanding that I'm a bit tired and I only have half an hour with which to record this. Okay, so thank you for that. You must never apologize. Only thank the person. Thank you for your understanding with my lack of fidelity in this relationship. I appreciate your understanding in me riding rings around your love. You know? Thank you for your understanding in me pouring all this milk on your computer and ruining it. I appreciate your understanding at this time. You never say sorry. You must never say sorry. Thank you for your understanding seems to be the hardest word. No, it doesn't. I apologize, excuse me, too much. I've always said to my wife, my apologies are like pound shop hammers. They get the job done, but you really can't rely on them, you know? They're not long term. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting braver now. You kind of find your footing as you get into a marriage. You know, we're here long enough, and I'm like, well, do you know what? I'm actually going to start defending myself here. You know, I feel like when me and my wife got married, I was like the little George Harrison. Like I was little George Harrison, and I was like, yeah, whatever you say, Terry. Looking up to her like she's John Lennon, right? And now I'm like, I'm after writing something, and it's a fucking banger. And if you don't like it, I'll make a double album. That's not a great analogy, and it's not even really true. I think I just wanted to talk about whatever. Hey, how you doing though? You good? A nice bit of chill. I'm running out. I'm still trying to talk about how the weather's, you know, to people out on the street, about how the weather's a little bit cooler. But that has passed. It's been cool for a while now. So I need to find some other fucking stupid thing. Did you see Kerry there did well, you know, whatever. I don't even fucking know, you know. Is that significant? I don't know. Is it the first time they've ever won? I don't know. Have they won 50 times? Is that a monumental thing? I don't know. I don't know, Anne. But I was seeing them all out, Kerry men. What's the Kerry man's latest invention? The Kerry man. What is his latest invention? An upside down ladder. Something like that. Something they do. Something DJ Carey might fucking whatever invent. You know, is he a Kerry footballer? I don't know. Is he a hurler? Again, who knows at this point? Me, clearly not me. DJ Carey, I think, is a football player. And I remember thinking, it was like, where's he from? And someone said Kerry. And I'm like, his name's Kerry. He's from Kerry. Is he a DJ? No. I'm like, this name is so confusing, I'm going to remember it forever. This whole situation with DJ Carey, everyone's talking about how weird it is. And I'm not going to be able to forget about it, you know? But, yeah, commiserations to God. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I didn't watch it. Not that I'm against it. I'm not one of those, I told you, I'm not one of those little incels, you know, who posts to Reddit being, you know, like, me at the sports ball game. They dunked the ball at the touchdown bag, you know? Come on. Come on, mate. You know enough about pop culture, mate. Come on. Don't faff about, mate. Football as well, especially. The sports ball game with the offside. Like, it couldn't be a more simple game. That's why it's so fucking boring, because it's so simple. You know, that's why I find it so boring. I'm letting it all hang out. Dr. Fraser Crane on the fucking mic today, letting it all hang out. I don't even think that's a lyric in toss salad slang. Scrambled eggs. This is a shite podcast. This is a shite podcast. But I'm so happy you're here. I'm going on my hollybops now next week, going to France, as we call it. Remember, some guy came in. I talked about this before. He came in to give us a talk in transition year, and two things he said were like, I've completely lost respect for you. The first thing he said was, he was trying to give an example of a movie. It's like, say, the latest Hollywood blockbuster, I don't know, A Knight's Tale with Keith Ledger. And I'm like, well, now I fucking can't respect anything else comes out of your mind and your mouth, because he said Keith Ledger. You got that wrong. And like your, playground rules would be, if you were to do that sort of thing, say Keith Ledger and get it wrong in front of a circle of lads, you would be jocked, you might be bagged, and you might be pushed over. But you're an adult. I can't do that to you. But I can choose to not hear anything else you say. So if you tell me Keith Ledger and you get the name wrong, then I've checked out. I'm gone. I'm out of here. All right? That's fine. It's fine. Just like, let's shake hands. Never speak again. We have nothing in common. You said Keith Ledger. But then he doubled up and he was talking about, he was just like over-explaining some idea about work and play and about, how, you get to go on holiday, but you have to do hard work. Some shite. I don't know. I don't even remember who he is. I don't know who he is. Not even sure if this was in transition year. But I'm definitely sure a man came in to speak to our class, and the only thing I remember is that he said Keith Ledger instead of Heath Ledger. And he said that he was on holiday in his words, France. He was in France. This South County Dublin guy. Obviously, it's not all hard work. Of course, you get a bit of playtime. I was just recently on holiday in France. You just get a little blip. You're like, did a fucking portal open up here just for a millisecond, and a Frenchman just stand there for a millisecond? It's so jarring. And then you're like, no, it didn't. No, actually, you're a wanker. You saying France like that makes me think you think more highly of France than I do, and I'm a wanker because I'm not saying it right. You saying that proper is making me scared, and I think you're a piece of shit for doing that to me personally. So look, we had nothing in common beforehand with the whole Keith Ledger thing. Now I think you're out. Now I just think you're a dickhead. I think you like France. I think you think that you like France more than me, and that might be true because I had not been to France, but I don't like you bragging about how much you like France by saying France. Okay? So, anyway. Yeah. Again, I do not remember who this man was. I don't remember what he was even talking about. I don't remember when it was, but I remember those two things. Another thing I remember is we had to go off to this thing. We had another person, but they didn't actually come into our class. We went off to some, retreat or something. And it was an all-day thing where this guy was going to be giving us a talk. And this guy was like a former alcoholic / musician. And he was going to give us a talk about how he found God, right? And let me tell you, this dude needed a script editor big time. It was a long show. He was talking for 3 hours, and then we had a break, and he talked for another 3 hours about himself. Can you imagine that? More self-indulgent, right? And he didn't do anything. He just was an alcoholic, being a fucking but this is fucking Dublin. What are you talking? This is Ireland, And his rock bottom was that his daughter or something saw him really drunk one time. He made a show of himself at a barbecue, and I'm like, bro, you need to take this to the fringe so everyone can tell you how bad this is, and that you never do this again. But he didn't. What he did do is slap a fucking God on it, start selling it around to all the schools, and also to be so self-indulgent as to be given a 6-hour fucking a black box theater show that was so rehearsed and fucking trite, and he would laugh at the right bits when he was remembering a bit, and then he would stare off when he was trying to remember, faking that he's trying to remember the story. What was it, 2 years ago now? Or shut up. And we're sitting there, and guess what? If you're in the Edinburgh Fringe or the Dublin Fringe, you can, you might be like, oh, well, that's annoying. This is 10 quid I spent, and it's not very good. But you can still leave. We had to sit there. And if we left, we got in trouble. And he knew that. And he was playing with it. There's no way he would have a 6-hour show if he knew that people, if he knew that people could leave. right? But the details that I remember are, right, that he said that he didn't believe in God, right? And whatever, he had shit with his family, whatever, but it wasn't that mad, you know? He wasn't like molested or anything like that. And he wasn't, I think he just wasn't, parents didn't tell me they loved him, right? Which again, you know, so grateful that my parents, you know, took a generational leap to end that bad habit. And I've had nothing but love for my parents. And they didn't get it. They didn't get that kind of, you know, probably weren't told that parents were proud of them and that they loved them, right? So as far as I'm concerned, that's, you know, that's familiar territory of a previous generation. But this generation's a bit different. So he's moaning about the fact that his parents said he didn't love him. And I'm like, I get it. That'd be awful or whatever. Not 6-hour Edinburgh Fringe show quality of like a bad thing, you know? It's not up to that caliber. You know, where you pull the rug at the second act and you're like, oh, I was laughing. Now this is serious. You know, it wasn't that good. Anyway, but what he said was, whatever, he got drunk at a fucking barbecue, and then his wife was annoyed at him the next day, and his kid was annoyed at him the next day, and he was like crying. And then he says he saw God, like saw God, like he saw a light, like physically saw a light, saw God's face. Happiness came over him. He felt it all through his body. God spoke to him and told him that he loved him and that he is loved. And like, obviously we were totally checked out before he said this, right? And our hands go up and we're like, oh, okay, a few questions, right? What exactly does he look like? What color was he? Did he have long hair? Did he have a beard? Is he a man? What's his voice like? Does he have an accent? You know, how big is he? Is he tall? You know, what was he wavy? Was he like, you know, was he shiny? Was he metallic? What color is his skin? Does he have nice teeth? Is he handsome? You know, asking all these questions, and he's like, no, please, look, we'll save all the questions to the end, you know. And the fucking bullshitter never answered the questions. He never came back to it, right? But he didn't answer us, so we're all fascinated by this, right? And then he says that he decided then, after speaking directly to God, he says he spoke to God, right? The God that only spoke to like Moses, Abraham, you know, his own son, Job, a few others, not even one apostle, and this fucking clown from Artane, this clown, right? So he's of a dozen people ever who have physically spoken to God, and God took time out to speak to this guy to tell him not to drink so much at a fucking barbecue so as to disappoint his daughter, right? The omnipotent being, Jehovah, decided to speak to this clown rather than go to, I don't know, like Crumlin Hospital, right? Or anywhere else, you know? But whatever reason, God chose him, right? You got like Job, Abraham, Moses, and fucking Dave from Artane, right? So he also told him, stop drinking, look after your family, look after yourself, love your fellow man, all that stuff, right? And so your man goes, yeah. So I did, you know, I stopped drinking and I turned my life around, you know. I got a better job. I started looking after my family. I started losing weight. I started feeling really confident. But unfortunately, my demons caught up with me. And before I knew it, I was drinking again. I'm like, so we're like, what? Sorry, what? So you spoke to God specifically. He asked you not to drink anymore. This is the same God that asked your man to kill Job, to kill his son on a mountain, and he was almost gonna. The same God that asked Moses to free all the Jews, and he did, and kill a few Egyptians along the way. The same God that asked his son to allow himself to be crucified, asked you, this is the God you believe in. He asked you not to drink anymore. And you said, and you did. And you did. Are you not the biggest sinner? It's like, are you not the worst person who has ever lived morally in the history of Christianity? We couldn't believe it, right? And then he keeps talking, and he goes, you know, I was drinking again. I, you know, was ruining my relationships. So then when God visited me a second time, we were like, oh, fuck off. Do you know what? Yous actually deserve each other, yous two, you and God, right? You're just as bad as the other. Him speaking to you and not like someone who really needs it, and you fucking it up constantly, right? And I remember, I remember thinking like that, like you're actually doing God a disservice here. And I mean, an obvious disservice in the fact that you keep letting him down, as well as your whole family, right? But you know, the fact that God being associated with you is kind of bringing him down a peg. Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you see it in like a pop song, and you're like, why is that? You know, like say, I don't know, LMFAO featuring Beyonce. And you're like, why is Beyonce doing that? There must be some contractual obligation. Why the fuck's she doing that? You know, that's what's happened here. Dave from Artane featuring God. Like, why is God doing that? Remember, we actually did have it. No, he wasn't a drug addict, but he was a drug counselor. Came in and gave us a talk, right? And this is the thing I remember from that, right? He ended up just giving us loads of tips on how to take drugs. Well, like, I mean, not nothing good, but he did say this, right? He said, and of course, it's obviously, you know, huffing petrol. It's called. It's when you know, you might take a rag or an open kind of bottle full of petrol and inhale it, you know, and then like, and, sir, like, what, you know, what kind of, you know, or not, sir, he didn't hold that level of esteem, but oi, mate. You know, what kind of buzz did you get off that? You know, it's kind of euphoria, kind of dizziness. You know, like, that sounds way better than the American dream. And then we were asking more questions. Or like, how would they be getting the petrol? Like, presumably kids can't just go into a petrol station and just fill up and just walk out, you know? And they're like, and he was like, well, you know, it's not like petrol station petrol. It would be kind of like you can go into the art and hobby shop and buy petrol for like a remote control car or a boat. And we were like, like scribbling frantically, and how much is it? And I've never done it. I've never tried petrol. But then what he said was, but like, honestly, seriously, you know, don't do it. You know, it is very easy. It's very easily accessible. It's cheap. You know, but, you know, I've heard stories I heard a story of a young girl who unfortunately died because she was huffing so much petrol. And actually, he said this, right? He said, and actually recently, a school that I visited, telling them about about petrol and how they should stay away from petrol. One of the girls in that didn't heed my warning. And unfortunately, now she has brain damage. And I'm like, maybe you're part of the problem, bro. Maybe don't go around enlightening young boys on how to get their rocks off at the art and hobby shop. That may or may not, you know, result in brain damage. I always remember that. But look, I did 4 gigs, so I'm quite tired. I hope you can appreciate. And I love you, and I hope you know that I love you. And look, if you'd like to listen to some more podcasts, you know where you can do that. You can go over to patreon.com/Tony Cantwell, where there's over 100 podcasts you have not listened to yet. And just for the price of a pint or a too expensive coffee, you can listen to all of those bad boys. You can also get first dibs on anything, whether it's, you know, a gig, live podcast, those watch-along things where we talk over movies. Every single one of those is gets early dibs over on the Patreon. And like the Killian and Shane show that we did, that was last week's podcast, that was all those tickets got snatched up by patrons on the Patreon. I won't do that again. I'll allow some for patrons and others for everyone else, but that was a mistake on me. I didn't think that they'd all get snatched up, but they did, which you know, it's great. But I'm sorry that wasn't available for general public, for people who are in the position to give to the Patreon. But look, thanks very much. I'll be back next week, where I'll be joined by a guest to wrap up all of the blockbusters of the summer blockbusters of 2022, and to maybe talk a little bit about the future of movies, the MCU, where we think it's going. So that's going to be next Tuesday. The Hibernian Conspiracy, about how the Ireland are actually overseeing everything and controlling the world, is incoming. I've just landed on some new research that I need to fully absorb, thanks to associate producer of the pod, Ben Clifford. And that's me. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back with, of course, a full-length episode on Friday on the Patreon, and then back to normal next Tuesday. All the best. Bye-bye.